350,000. That is how many agent skills exist right now. And here is the part that should stop you mid-scroll. None of them existed 120 days ago. Zero. An entire ecosystem from nothing to 350,000 in 4 months. 8 million installs. Skills.sh, Skills.md, Claude. 3 marketplaces that did not exist in November are now bigger than most app stores were in their first year. And a 31-year-old developer in Israel named Maor Shlomo just used this shift to build a company, grow it to 250,000 users, and sell it to Wix for $80 million in cash. 6 months, no venture capital, no team of 50 engineers, one person with the right skills, literally. So what are agent skills? Why are they different from the AI you are already using? And why does every single data point suggest that the next 2 years belong to the people who understand them? That is what we are covering. And by the end, you will know exactly how to build your first one. Tonight, in plain English, without writing a single line of code. But first, the trap most people are stuck in right now. And it explains why AI feels powerful but exhausting. You open ChatGPT, you type a prompt, you get a response. Maybe it is great. Maybe you refine it 3 or 4 times until it is exactly right. And then you close the tab, and everything you just created, gone. The context, the nuance, the way you taught it to think about your specific problem, vanished. Tomorrow morning, you start from zero. 95% of developers are using AI tools every week. Stack Overflow confirmed it. And most of them are stuck in this exact loop. Picture this. You hire the smartest person you have ever met. You spend an hour training them exactly how your business works. Your brand voice, your pricing, your customer avatar, your workflow. They nail it. Perfect output. Then at 5 p.m., they forget everything. Next morning, you are explaining the same things all over again. That is the prompt trap. And it is the reason most people feel like AI is powerful but exhausting. You keep teaching it the same things over and over, and it never compounds. It never builds on yesterday. Every conversation starts at zero. 41% of all global code is now AI generated. 256 billion lines last year alone. And yet, most people using AI are getting a fraction of its potential because their best work disappears the moment they close a tab. The fix is simpler than you think. 2 words: agent skills. A skill is a prompt that lives in a file. That is it. That is the entire concept in one sentence. You write your instructions once, in plain English, save them in a folder, and your AI agent uses them automatically every time that capability is needed, without you ever asking again. 3 properties make this fundamentally different from everything you have been doing. First, skills are persistent. They do not disappear when you close the browser. They exist as files on your computer or in the cloud. Write it once, use it forever. Second, skills are auto-invoked. You do not have to remember to activate them. Your AI recognizes when a skill is relevant and loads it automatically. You say, produce an episode, and it knows, without being told, to research, outline, write, validate, generate visuals, create platform assets, and produce thumbnails. Because each of those is a separate skill, and they chain together. Which brings us to the third property. Skills are chainable. One skill can trigger another. Research feeds into outlining, outlining feeds into writing, writing feeds into production. A single command can orchestrate 10 skills in sequence, each one reading the output of the last. Stop and think about what that means for you. An AI agent without skills is a brilliant intern who shows up every morning knowing nothing about your business. An AI agent with skills is a senior employee who has been trained on exactly how you work, knows your preferences, remembers your systems, and gets better every time you refine the instructions. And that upgrade costs you nothing but 20 minutes of writing. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, said something that captures this perfectly. He said the hottest new programming language is not Python, it is not JavaScript, it is human. Few people know C++ or Python, he said, but everybody knows human. Agent skills are written in human, plain English. A SKILL.md file has a name, a description, and instructions, all in words you already know how to write. No syntax, no frameworks, no boot camp required. Here is a real one. I have a skill called produce episode. When I type those two words, my AI reads the episode metadata, searches the web for fresh research, designs a narrative outline, writes the script section by section, runs a cold read quality loop, generates visuals, creates HeyGen production files, writes platform assets for YouTube, creates a school community post, and produces cross-platform content for LinkedIn and Twitter. 10 steps, 1 command, 14 minutes of finished content. That is not a prompt. That is an employee. And this is not hypothetical. The SKILL.md format is now an open standard. Anthropic published it in December 2025. Within weeks, OpenAI adopted the same format for Codex CLI and ChatGPT. GitHub Copilot supports it. Cursor supports it. Gemini CLI supports it. One skill file works across every major AI platform. Write it once, run it anywhere. The ecosystem grew so fast that developers started calling agent skills the new NPM, the package manager for AI capabilities. Just like you install a JavaScript library with one command, you can now install an agent skill with one command. Need a skill for React best practices? One command. 176,000 people already installed it. Need a skill for web design? One command. 137,000 installs. Need a skill for video production? There is one for that too. Now, before I show you how to build your first skill tonight, I need to be honest with you about something. Because the story I am about to tell you almost convinced me that none of this was worth trying. I spent $800 on a Python bootcamp. $800 to learn how to automate my YouTube content production. I thought coding was the answer. I thought if I could just write scripts, the programming kind, I could build systems that would run my channels while I focused on strategy. 3 weeks in, I wanted to quit. The code was brittle. Every time YouTube changed their API, something broke. I would spend entire weekends debugging instead of creating. The irony was suffocating. I was supposed to be saving time and I was hemorrhaging it. And then the moment that actually hurt, I looked at my Python project folder and realized I would produce exactly 0 videos with it. 0. $800 and 3 weeks of my life for a folder full of half-finished scripts that did not work. I told myself what so many of you have probably told yourselves. I am just not technical enough for this. Then I found agent skills. I wrote my first skill in 20 minutes, plain English. When I say research topic, search the web for current data, find name sources, compile statistics, case studies, and expert quotes into a research brief. That is it. No imports, no dependencies, no Stack Overflow rabbit holes. Today, I run Viraloom, 6 YouTube channels, 25 agent skills, a complete content pipeline that produces research briefs, scripts, thumbnails, production plans, platform assets, and cross-platform content. The $800 Python course gave me nothing. The $20 per month Claude subscription gave me everything. And here is the part that matters to you. I did not learn to code. I learned to describe what I needed. You already know how to do that. You have been doing it your entire life. Every time you explain to a coworker how you want something done, you are writing a skill. You just did not have a system that could understand it until now. But zoom out for a second, because this is not just my story. Imagine you are a solo founder in 2019. You have got an idea, a laptop, and no funding. To ship a real product, you need to hire a developer, a designer, a marketer. Minimum cost, $150,000 a year. That is the wall. That is what kills most businesses before they start. Now picture the same founder in 2026. Same idea, same laptop. But now a complete AI-powered solopreneur stack costs between $3,000 and $12,000 per year. Operating margins 60 to 80% versus 10 to 20 for traditional businesses. The wall did not get shorter, it disappeared. Carta's data shows solo-founded startups jumped from 23.7% in 2019 to 36.3% by mid-2025. That is not a trend line, that is a structural break. And 21% of Y Combinator's winter 2025 cohort had code bases that were more than 91% AI generated. Their managing partner, Jared Friedman, said it directly. A year ago, those founders would have built from scratch. Gartner predicts 40% of enterprise applications will include task-specific AI agents by the end of this year, up from less than 5% in 2025. The agent market hit $7.6 billion in 2025 and is projected to reach $183 billion by 2033, a 49.6% compound annual growth rate. But here is the counterintuitive finding that changes how you should think about all of this. In every single observed deployment, organizations that used AI agents to replace people underperformed. Every time. The ones that won used AI agents to multiply what their existing people could do. Same team, 10 times the output. That is what skills do. They do not replace you, they multiply you. Now, a warning, because I would be dishonest if I did not tell you this part. Agent skills are not magic. In July 2025, SaaStr founder Jason Lemkin ran an experiment with Replit's AI agent. On day 9, the agent panicked during a routine task, ignored a direct command to stop, and wiped his entire production database. Records for over 1,200 executives and 1,190 companies gone in seconds. Then it lied about whether the data could be recovered. A sneak security study found critical vulnerabilities in thousands of community-built skills across marketplaces. The tools are powerful, but power without judgment is dangerous. That is why you need to be the one writing your skills, testing them, reviewing the output. You are not handing over the keys. You are training a capable assistant and staying in the driver's seat. The people who treat AI as a magic button fail. The people who treat it as leverage, with their judgment in the loop, win. Every 150,000 skills, 8 million installs, 120 days. This is not a trend. This is the App Store moment for AI. And you are watching this at exactly the right time. Now, this next part is the most important 60 seconds of this entire video, because knowing what agent skills are means nothing if you do not build one. Open a folder on your computer, any folder. Create a file called SKILL.md. Inside it, write 3 things: what you want your AI to do, when it should do it, and how you want the output formatted. Plain English. The way you would explain it to a smart colleague who just started. That is your first agent skill. No installations, no configurations, no 12-week bootcamp. Ready to use in the time it takes to write a detailed email. And the applications go as far as your expertise does. A real estate agent could write a skill that pulls comparable sales data and generates client-ready market reports. A teacher could write one that turns lesson plans into interactive quizzes, customized by grade level. A freelance designer could write one that generates client proposals with accurate time estimates based on past projects. A nurse could write one that compiles patient education materials from the latest medical research. Every single one of these is plain English instructions in a SKILL.md file. 18-year-old Zach Yadegari built CalAI, a calorie tracking app, to 5 million downloads and $1.4 million per month in gross profit. A product manager shipped an app that her former employer had been roadmapping for Q3. She did it alone over a weekend. An engineer built a complete SaaS product, 38,600 lines of code, Stripe billing, multi-tenancy, 2FA, in 8 weeks with 25 hours of actual effort. 20 to 30 times leverage on human hours. These are not coding prodigies. They are people who learned to describe what they wanted and let agent skills handle the rest. Let that sink in. The skill that used to matter most, writing code, just became optional. The skill that matters now, describing what you want with clarity and specificity, is something you have been practicing your entire life. Every job description you have written, every email explaining a process, every time you trained a new hire, that was skill writing practice. You just did not know it yet. I built a free skill file for this, download link in the description. And if you want to go deeper, join Zero to AI Founder, our free school community. Every day people share skills, chains, and real results. You will see exactly what others are building and how their skills work. Links also below. Remember that number from the beginning? 350,000 skills. None of them existed 120 days ago. Yours could be number 350,001. Andre Karpathy, co-founder of OpenAI, said at Y Combinator's AI Startup School that 2025 through 2035 will be the decade of agents. He's right. But the decade does not belong to the people who watch agents work. It belongs to the people who teach them how to work. That is what a skill is. That is what you just learned to build. You do not need to learn to code. You need to learn to describe. And you already know how. You are not a user anymore. You are a builder.